Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
There we go.
Hi.
What's happening, folk?
Where's everybody's drink, or is it just me tonight?
Nah, I got a drink, Charlie.
Oh, okay.
I got you right over here. I got you right here. I got my own man, my elder old fashioned.
Okay.
Got it.
I got the red wine tonight. I mean,
Keeping it grown and sexy. I see him.
Yeah, I'm on the red wine too. Clank.
Say, baby.
Jay, what's up? You back from Essence? How was that?
Oh, you went to Essence?
Man, listen, Auntie Con 2024. Man. Auntie Con 2024 was dope as usual.
I'm done. And I was considering going down there, but I'm like, no, because it's just going to be like ridiculous.
I sure love aunties though.
Oh my God.
Yo, listen, let me tell you something, son. Tell you something. It's always a good time, man. It's always a good time. Like the music, the food, the pageantry of it all, it's dope. Essence of the thing. And then when you got access to, you know what I'm saying? We had a little access to shit. So we would fly with it, you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Man, I'm so jealous, man.
I guess.
Like we was on the floor next to the stage, like VIP couches and shit. Free food, free liquor.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you had a wonderful experience at
it was dope, man. It was dope.
Auntie Con.
Auntie Con 2024, aka Essence Fest, 30th anniversary.
We got to do a documentary on you, man. Call it A Day in a Life.
Right.
Look at
I love it.
Already.
That was kind of fire.
You know?
A J in a life.
A J in a life, and you just be flexing all day, like on the yacht. You know, just
that's kind of dope. I like that.
A J in a life. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing passes, homie. I know it's off season, but
that was kind of fly.
I like it. I'm with it. A day in the life.
A J in a life. I like that. That was really fly.
Lord. So a good time was had by all, basically. That's what you're saying.
Man, listen. So I think at some point, every Black woman who just cares about anything should go.
Mm-hmm. Like,
it's really about y'all.
Yeah.
And it truly is. And it's phenomenal to see so many vendors. I mean, imagine walking. Like, I feel like the New Orleans Convention Center, if it's not bigger, it's as big as the one in DC. Mm-hmm. Imagine that whole convention center from one end to another, full of vendors just for Black women.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's dope.
Like, it's incredible, right? Like, it's so much just for y'all. And All Stars came out. Kamala Harris was there, did a one-on-one chat with the CEO of Essence. You know what I'm saying? Like, Essence it's a big deal.
Yeah, I spent some time this weekend hanging out with a couple of new Black women friends, but they're both like, one's a lawyer, one's like super high up in education, and they're just like, incredible, successful women. And one of the things we were talking about is how Black women do such a good job of like looking out for each other, like networking, because like immediately, like they had known me for 10 minutes. It was like, oh girl, you in education? Let's talk about this. Woo, woo, woo. I can get you this. Woo, woo, woo. And it's like, oh, and I learned, like, I just wanted to keep quiet the whole time because I was like, I just want to listen and learn, because they're like on their bullshit, So it was extremely inspirational. And I feel like that's the kind of experience you would get with Essence, but like on a much grander scale.
Hey, like, it's just so dope, man. It's just, I don't understand why more women don't go. Like, I don't get it. Like, and then you're in New Orleans. You never have a bad meal in New Orleans.
True.
Like, ever. And the music's dope. Like, the music's dope.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Bourbon Street. Like, come on, son.
Yeah, man.
I think Jay has sold me. I think I'm going to go to Essence Fest next year. A couple of close friends to go.
Most people, when they go the first time, they end up going back. I mean, they made a whole movie based on it. Girls Trip kind of captures the essence of it, pun intended. But like they made a whole movie off women going there and as a crew and enjoying the whole thing, the pageantry of it. So,
gotcha.
yeah.
All right, well that's cool. Like I love that. I definitely like shout out to all the ladies at Essence Fest and all the networking that I know that was going on with all of the queens that were there. So I will see y'all next year, queens. Okay, looking forward to meeting you guys and networking. But without further ado, if we don't have anything else, happy Tuesday officially. Welcome to the Tit for Tat podcast. I'm Carolyn. I'm one of your hosts.
I'm Jay Moore. I'm the tat and the tit for tat, and she's the tit and the tit for tat, and we go tit for tat all day. Even got my man Eddie on the line because he's tit and tat with us. What's up, tit for tat nation?
What up, so good, so good. I love it, and I never get tired of that. It's like I look forward to that every week. But yeah, we have a very we have quite a serious topic today. Like last week, we kept it light, introducing the summer season with something fun and just bouncing around. And going back and rewatching that episode, that was a really fun episode. Like, guys, if you haven't watched it, you definitely need to check that out. Because that was, I learned a lot, but it was very fun also. So it's entertaining and educational. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. And then tonight, topic, getting past a breakup and or a divorce. So either one, because I know we've got people who have just gone through like serious breakups. So we got people who have been divorced. And so basically just like how are we handling the heartache that comes with that and the fallout that comes with a separation of, lives, essentially. So I've got a lot of questions because I've always struggled with my personal breakups, or have always been like difficult for me. So I'm looking to learn tonight. So I've got questions, but I don't know if either one of you wanted to start out and kind of just like talk a little bit about breakups and stuff from a men's perspective, or I can hop into my questions, however y'all want to do it.
I can start off with two big things that I want to kind of throw live out there, and I'm going to live it out.
Okay.
When it comes to a breakup, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, or divorce or whatever, the first thing I think everybody needs to realize is that the onus is never on one person wholly. Like it's never one person's entire fault. It's never like that. You came in together, you leave separately, but you took something with you. Like it's you own some of that breakup. A little, a lot of it, you own some of it, right? You're never like free and clear of the destruction or the ending of any relationship. The second thing I want to throw out there is that relationships, when they end, it's hurtful. What we all do a terrible job of is actively healing from it. Like, we really kid ourselves into thinking that we're okay after a breakup. And I discovered that for myself after my divorce and going to therapy. And therapy was a life-changing, game-changing, 180 degree, like it turned me around. And what happens when you get to a point where you feel healed, or you're in your healing mode, you could see hurt in other people. You could see, and you could see it a mile away. And so what ends up happening is that the cycle just keeps going. Because if you don't heal yourself, you're going to get back into another relationship and you're going to hurt somebody else. And it just keeps going and going and going. And this is where we are right now with, this is the core problem with at least Black love, I think.
You're saying the core problem is
It's a lot of black women out here and men that are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And when we even try to be real and get together, we fuck it up because we're so hurt. We don't even know what it's like to be okay.
I think that's powerful. I think I agree with you 100%. I do think, and this show is all about Black love and bringing people together. So I think that it's so important that we're having this discussion. But I think you're spot on with that. I think that we have a lot of people walking around hurting and unhealed from past trauma, be it childhood trauma, be it relationship trauma, like whatever is trauma. And like you said, when someone is on their healing journey, whereas they are in therapy and they are starting to heal, you are able to identify that type of trauma in other people. You, like you said, you see it from a mile away. But you also stated, which I agree with this, that cycle continues, because is it that it's not enough of us who are getting healed, or is it that even as we're healing or growing our healing journey, we can oftentimes get sucked back into the toxicity of a relationship with someone who is not where we are in terms of healing?
You won't. And I'll use you as an example, right? You've said numerous times the podcast has been a tremendous help in your journey. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you don't know how to put up boundaries when you in the next relationship you get into? Because I hear it all the time from you.
Yeah, no, I think I've learned a lot from the podcast. I'm also in therapy. I've learned a lot from that. So no, I don't think that I am much better with being able to put up boundaries compared to what I was before.
Yeah.
But
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just saying there are still times though when I don't trust myself when it comes to my relationships with men. I
hear that a lot too. And that's an interesting phenomenon, right? Because when I came out of my thing, Eddie, feel free to jump in anytime. I feel like I trusted myself. I don't know what that feels like. I've always trusted myself, even when I was fucked up. Right? I just always went with what I felt. Right? I think when you discover and learn that, oh my God, I was doing this wrong, doing that wrong. I think you've built the trust in yourself because you decided that, you know what, I was doing something wrong. Or I didn't notice about me and I'm willing to fix that. And so and to me, when you don't lie to yourself, you're trusting, you're doing the opposite, and you're trusting yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to be better, I'm going to do better. And when I recognize what I don't want, I'm going to set that boundary and not let it. I'm going to trust that I got something better for myself. But I'm not just going to go play around and let somebody play in my face when I know this is not what I want or need.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Absolutely. I think, just using myself as an example, I trust myself a lot more, but there are just still times where I'm like, was this the best decision? Or as I heal and I gain that confidence and then I get back into the dating world and something doesn't go right in a dating situation, then those insecurities tend to creep back in. And I then start to doubt myself, like, well, you've healed, or you're healing. And so you have better discernment and you're better at setting boundaries. And yet you're still struggling to, make something stick or work long term.
And that's when you stop. And if you don't know, or you're like, I don't know, ask questions to the people that love you the most, or to your therapist. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we're not gonna always have all the answers, right? But we got tools, we got resources. Mm-hmm. We got friends, we got family, like we got people who fuck with us that care for our journey and who we are. So in that space, it's like, all right, let me, you know what, I don't know, like this don't seem right. Like, let me hit Jay up. Let me see what he think. He got a level head. And always understand your source, right? Who you getting information from, right? Are you talking to a motherfucker that don't like men?
Speak on it.
You talking to a motherfucker that treats women wrong?
Oof.
You see what I'm saying? You got to consider your source. So before even some of your closest friends could be on some fuck niggas. That's probably the one you want to go to for good advice right now.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's where a lot of women go wrong. I have gotten much better because when I go to people who is, like you said, I look at like what their perspective is. One of the family and friends that I fall back on often is my sister and my brother-in-law, because they have, a great relationship. Not perfect, but they are so locked in, and their relationship was built on friendship, which is something that I really want to have in my next relationship. And so I listen to them often. I run things by them often. I get feedback from them often. And every time they give me some feedback or advice and I actually apply it, it's a good thing. So I think that's a great point that you just made. But I want to start with, so the show is about getting past a breakup. So let's go back and start at the very beginning of like how do you cope with that initial shock and emotional turmoil that you feel when you are experiencing a breakup? Or even, let's take it back even further than that. When you know your relationship is coming to an end, what is the thought process at that point? How can you prepare yourself? Are you pouring more alcohol? Okay.
This will be gone by the end of the show.
Yeah, we're gonna dig deep.
Yeah, we about to get deep.
But we need to, because I think that this will help a lot of people, because we do have a lot of people who are hurting. And if we don't heal, we can't be our best selves for that right person who comes along. So when we know that we're headed for a breakup, or we're feeling like that a breakup is imminent, like how should we prepare mentally? What are some things that we can do to, for lack of a better word, kind of like reduce the damage for what we know is coming?
I'm gonna let Eddie take this one, because I'm gonna speak from a divorce place, which is different from a boyfriend, girlfriend, regular relationship place.
Okay.
Well, I know, there was, I think after, I think I mentioned it in the last show, I was engaged one time. I fucked it up, and I got what I deserved. But then after that, when I was moving on, I saw a pattern of that, where you're talking about, where I kind of could see that the end was near in relationships that I was starting to get in with. And it was weird, because there were some relationships that I knew were never going to go nowhere, but it hurt like as if it was like the end of the world for me when I knew they were about to break up, or we were about to break up, because to me, it almost played into this insecurity that I felt after my fiance left me, on some like, am I even enough for somebody? Like, am I worth anything? Because this girl that I don't even really love is like breaking my heart, because it was more like a less feeling like I failed again. You know what I mean? And it hurt a lot to feel like, man, I'm failing again. Like, is this what it is? This is what I am? Am I like radioactive? You know what I mean?
No, I love that, because I can really relate to that. And then you have to ask yourself, or I found myself asking myself, later down the road, was I really that hurt behind that situation? Or was it the fact that I have attachment issues? Was it the fact that my ego was bruised?
It was the ego. It was the ego.
So that, and that can be a hurtful thing. But I also think that we as human beings can make that bigger than what it is. I'm not saying, like, you were engaged, so that's something totally different. because that's a very high level of, love and commitment, as opposed to just like being in a relationship. Not to diminish, people's love for each other in relationships,
but even being in just casual relationships after that situation, it felt almost as bad or worse, because I felt like, man, I can't even maintain a basic casual relationship with a chick that I really knew wasn't going to go nowhere. But the fact that she's going to tell me like, I think we ran our course, I felt like, wow, like it was devastating, real, like facts. I felt it felt horrible, because I think for me it was this obsession with wanting to be enough for somebody, and the fact that when you hear someone break up with you, it's because what they're telling you, yada yada yada, you're not enough. That's what I hear, yada yada yada. I want more, and I think I want somebody else who's gonna give me more.
Divorce. I'll start off by saying I don't wish divorce on my worst enemy.
Oof, I heard, man.
There are phases with divorce, right? When you're married, and Eddie, you can attest to this. There's days when you're up, it's ups and downs, right? If anybody goes into this thing thinking that every day is rainbows and roses, you're playing yourself, and please don't get married. The shit is hard. It is work. It is work, right? And you choose that person in a marriage. You choose that person every day in different ways and shapes and form and fashion, right? I've said this before, and I'm gonna say a couple of things, right? I fucked up my marriage to a great person. She wasn't perfect, but I fucked it up. And I fucked it up because of something that happened previously as a youngin', and I didn't know it, and it affected me in a lot of great relationships. And the reason why I decided to go to therapy after my separation was because I saw a pattern where I was fucking up great women. And it was like, all right, this shit got to stop.
Yeah. Like, so you started to look inward?
Yeah. It got to the point where at some point you gotta be like, it can't be everybody else. Like, I don't meet terrible women. Like, I meet dope women. Like, I meet dope women. Like, if I had to stack them up and look at like they're dope, and I'm not just talking about beauty wise, I'm talking about like smart, like they're all things. And I keep fucking it up. That's not that can't be a them problem. So I had to look inward. But with divorce, it's like, so when I remember 2 weeks after I got married, I was in the barbershop, and the dude, the barbershop is a black man's country club. And the dude said, one of the guys that always comes in there, he had been married for some time, and he was about to get divorced. And he was like, let me tell you something, Jay. You'll know when it's over when both of y'all don't give a fuck anymore. See, in a marriage, there's always going to be, it's never really even. In a marriage, it's always going to be somebody that's going to care a little bit more than the other. Right? Like, listen, I love you, but I don't like you today. But you know what? I choose you. So I'm going to make it work. You see what I'm saying?
What is the moment?
The day where both of y'all are like, fuck it, I don't like you and you don't like me, it's over.
Do you recall having that moment that you knew the relationship or the marriage was in fact over?
Yeah. And it's hurtful and devastating. But there's a stage before that, before you get to that point where you're having problems and it just can't get resolved. And you keep having the same issue, and you're throwing everything at it. You're throwing couples therapy. You're throwing books. You're throwing resourcing. You're throwing couples retreats. You're throwing God. You're throwing church. You're throwing everything at it, and it just ain't working. And it's like, And then you stop being intimate.
Mm.
Right? And then now you're in the same house, but you're two ships passing in the middle of the night. It's almost like you feel like you got a roommate.
Don't say that word. Ugh.
And that's a terrible place to be. And unfortunately, a lot of people in relationships feel that way. And I've been in relationships like that.
But hold on though. But that's just the first phase.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's, all right, we got to have a conversation. Is this shit over? And then, right? And if you have kids, oh my God.
Ugh.
But I'm not even gonna bring kids into it. But once you decide to have a conversation that is over, that's the next phase. Because now you're separated.
Mm-hmm.
But most people, when they get separated, they're still living in the same house.
Mm.
See, when you break up with somebody when you're not married, you can just leave. Imagine breaking up with somebody and have to live with them.
Yeah. That sounds so miserable. Like I definitely don't want to experience that at all.
Right. So now you separated. Now you got to start working through the separation, the paperwork. You know, you got to drop the separation agreement, assets, this, that, and third. And I'm gonna tell you now, what people say this all the time. You find out who a person really is. You find out who they really are when you get divorced.
Ugh.
Separation, divorce brings out the ugliness in people. It brings out another person. It brings out who they really are. On top of who you thought they were in the marriage, right? But that's another story. So then you got that phase where you're getting separated, you're getting divorced, and then you got that day where you actually sign the divorce papers. Right? That's a gut check for that ass.
What is it like? How did you and we've all experienced breakup in one level at one point in our lives. But what was your thought process? Because we really I want people to better be equipped to deal with breakups and divorces, unfortunately, if those should happen, in a way that you don't lose yourself.
Well, okay. So let me continue. Because the phases, if you understand the phases, you'll understand how not to lose yourself.
Okay, but don't forget we have people who are not married and just in relationships.
Right, but
the
next phase is kind of apply to everybody now.
Okay.
So now you get through, you're divorced, you get through, now you're at a point where you're free again. You feel free. Right? This is where it gets dangerous. And this is for even divorcees or people just get up. You're in a very dangerous period. And this is where the term rebound comes from. Because I went to therapy, but I was like living a double life almost. One of the things that I often did, that I was like, I'm doing this, but I shouldn't be doing it, but I understand why I'm doing it, is I would often have women just sleep in my bed with me.
This is after your divorce?
After my divorce.
Okay.
Reason being was because I was so used to having somebody in the bed with me. And it wasn't that I was having sex all the time, but that came with territory sometimes. But I was so used to having somebody in the bed with me. I just needed that feel. I wanted that feeling again, continuously, right? But I knew it wasn't going anywhere with any of these women. But it just felt good. It felt okay. It felt normal. Because remember, my normal was marriage and everything that came with it. So being in a relationship, same thing. Like if you're used to a certain thing and then you break up, the first thing that you usually go for or do is something that you were either getting all the time or something that you weren't getting at all. So if you were in a sexless relationship or a bad sex relationship, guess what you're going to want to get? And that next person. Good sex. right? But we were mistaking that good sex for, oh, this is my new person.
The divorced person or who you're
Any
sleeping
person, this
with?
is for everybody. This is for everybody. Even when you come out of a relationship, especially if it was a real long, like a real relationship where it actually meant something, that person, that next person usually is your rebound. We don't like it. We don't like that term. We don't think it's real. It's real. Because you usually go for identify somebody with somebody to get something that you weren't getting before. Maybe that your partner wasn't a great listener, and so you want to get with somebody who listens to you a lot.
Do you feel like that's using someone at all? Did you ever feel guilty or like you were using people because you knew your motives were, you're having women sleep in the bed with you because you're actually missing your wife, and meanwhile they may be interpreting that as, he wants me around, he wants me to spend the night. Maybe this is going somewhere.
Well, the one thing I would say this, I was always upfront with the fact that I'd say upfront, I'm not getting in another relationship anytime soon.
Okay.
Some women like that. Some women want to be the one that heals you. Some women, like if you keep it a buck with them and say, I just got out of this bad situation. She left me, and just tell them the truth. It's almost women inherit like trait to want to heal you, and in that they'll play as a seat filler even for that season, just so they can kind of take care of you and heal you. They may catch feelings. Some of them will or don't, but then I've had that situation where I had seat fillers, and then I felt like they were maybe using me too at the same time, because sometimes you almost trauma bond over something like that.
Boom.
And then y'all become that seasonal person for each other, that special friend.
Yeah. And so relationships across the board, the rebound is real. The rebound is real. Like I always tell people, man, take your time getting back on the horse. Right? Like make sure you understand why your breakup happened. And make sure that if you decide to get engaged the opposite sex or whatever you do again, make sure it's for the right reasons.
Do you think, or would you recommend a time frame? Like you and I are together, we broke up. Now, is there a time frame that you would recommend that we both take and just be by ourselves and kind of focus on us? Because I think that a lot of people, when they break up, they tend to hop back into something, whether it be a rebound, like a place filler or something like that, because of it feeling familiar and them wanting, that constant having someone around in some capacity. But do you feel like that's a good thing? It's just serving a purpose of it is what it is, as long as the person's upfront and honest about, they're not getting into a relationship anytime soon, but this situation is kind of like bringing me comfort in some way? Or do you think that the better thing to do would be to just focus on yourself and take some time away from dating or dealing with someone else? What would you recommend? What would you guys recommend?
I think it depends on the person and who you are in your journey. I think if you understand, if you're healed, I don't want to use that term, but if you're healed, you're able to better discern what you need and what you don't, and able to understand why this breakup happened. And you can accept that and then be able to move on. I think those who are in that space can move on quicker because they're able to kind of navigate and know, you know what? I know why this happened. I've accepted it. I can course correct in the future, and I'm gonna keep it pushing. I think if you're struggling with your breakup and you don't really understand why, I think you should definitely take as much time as you need to try to understand what happened and how is it affecting you and what are you going to do in the future for that relationship. your next one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it really depends on the person. I don't like to put a time on that because I think it's different for everybody.
That makes sense. And Eddie, I know you have experienced, like, a breakup with a fiance, which is, very similar to maybe a marriage in some capacity.
Yeah.
Um, can you talk a little bit about like what role your family and friends played? Because I know that anytime we go through something hard or difficult in life, most people tend to try to lean on someone else, or your friends and family just automatically kind of rally around you. You don't even have to lean on them because they know you're going through something difficult and they just kind of like surrounding you. So when you've gone through your breakups, how important was, your friends and family to your healing
Yeah, it was
progress?
everything, man. Everything. Actually, it was. I think the thing that was beautiful about that came one amazing thing that came out of that horrible situation was that I ended up becoming saved because
Mm.
one of my cousins and of course my mom was speaking wisdom into me, and I was in my most vulnerable state, so I was listening to everything, and then all of a sudden everything made sense. I was a non-believer before all that, and really one of the things I learned in that season of healing was that I realized that love is a revolution, that it heals trauma, that it allows you allows you to be free and gives you the privilege to be your authentic self. And I think one of the things that I learned about myself in that bad season was why I couldn't get over it, why it hurt so bad, even though I was the one that caused it to myself. It wasn't like she did nothing to me, I did it
Mhm.
to myself. And I think when I had family and friends unpack with me about why I did this to myself, it traced back to things in my childhood, things that I kind of saw that I normalized, and I think, honestly, one of the things that I learned, and we talked about, you and I talked about this personally one time, was like, people, we melanated people, and the thing that's special about us is that, we go through trauma that we don't even realize is trauma. Like I remember, it's funny because I have an 8-year-old now, and I remember when I was 7 years old, and we left our father because he was crazy. But I remember people telling me as a 7-year-old, telling me that I was the man of the house now. Jay know what that looked like. Every day someone said, "You the man of the house." And even though I was 7, I kind of didn't know what that meant, but I did feel like it was heavy. I knew it was heavy as a
Mm.
7-year-old being told by my uncles, my older cousins, by even casual people asking me, "Oh, who lives with y'all?" "Oh, it's just me and my sisters and my mom." And they go, "Oh, you the man of the house." And I was constantly hearing that all my life from being 7 years old. And now that I have an 8-year-old, because I'll tell you this one thing that's really funny. When you have kids, you finally learn how to tell time. You know what I mean? Because my son, he's 8, and I could never, ever put him to be like, "You the man of anything."
Mm.
He gets to be a boy in my house. He gets to
Mm.
act like a fool and be crazy like I wasn't allowed to because I was the man of the house. And that's a normal trauma, that no one knows about, that we kind of sweep under the, that's normal black stuff. Nah, bro, that's not normal. When you find out like that you've always been under attack, that you were the one that had answers at 10 years old. I had to know my mom's work schedule. I had to wake her up in the morning when I was 10. I'm a grown man waking my 12-year-old right now every morning. Because we only had one alarm clock, and I was the one that had to wake up early. So when I woke up, I had to wake my mom up for work. I can't imagine telling my kids, "Yo, y'all gotta wake me up." They would, I wouldn't, bro. I'd be fired. You know what I mean? "Yo, Carolyn, I'm sorry I couldn't make it again. My kid didn't wake me up." Nah, bro. But that was normalized for us. So the reason I say all that is because I feel like there's a certain like normalized trauma that we grow into, and I feel like we're the worst at giving each other grace. Like that's what hurts me the most about us is that we're the worst. Like I know what you've been through, Carolyn. I don't gotta know the pictures. I just know the portrait. Jay, I know
Mhm.
what you've been through, but Ben, I'd be the quick one to judge you. I'd be the quick one to shoo you off. When I should be the first one to be like, "Bruh, I've been there, homie. Let's go. Let's take a walk.
Right.
Let's get, let's pass the hookah, bro. Let's talk about this." But
Yeah.
I'd be the first one to act like I'm brand new because I
Okay.
came up on some money or some status, you know.
That's true. And we see that a lot on social media.
I hate that. We do that with our relationships. We're so quick to be like, oh man, nah, she wasn't a real one. When my brother, she was trying, but she tripped up the way we all do because of things that we try to internalize and we never got to really feel vulnerable. And that's the thing about love, is that it's supposed to heal. We're supposed to help and heal each other with it. But a lot of times we hurt each other with it. And sometimes some people use it as ransom. They'll hold out on it. Like it's like a gun to the head. Like, I'm not going to give it to you unless. These are the stipulations. These are the non-negotiables. And it's like, bro, what are we doing to each other, man? Like, let's just be real and honest and figure this out together, man. I'll show you my wounds. I'll show you yours. And it's like, come on, man. Let's stop this perfection. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we watch too much TV with it. And it's not like that, you know? Love happiness shouldn't be a currency. You know, that's the problem we have. We think happiness is a currency. So we can show up to the bank with it and be like, yo, I want, like, bro, it ain't crypto. And like Jake said earlier, we ain't never gonna be happy all the time. But if we love and like each other on the days that we probably, are annoyed by you, that should be enough. It should be like 50 first dates, like Adam Sandler movie. Every day, like you said, Jay, I should choose you. I should pretend you Drew Barrymore with amnesia, and I got to remind you why you love me.
Yeah. That's you said a lot of good points there, but something that stands out is whenever you're talking about like giving each other grace, because I think that's so important. I feel like we, as a people, struggle with giving each other grace, and we all have very shared experiences. Like, they may not be exactly the same, but it's like you said, I can know as a Black woman what you've experienced as a Black man to some degree, because we all have those type of shared experiences. And I think that we don't actually grant each other enough grace. And that's one of the things that's kind of like impacting Black love as a whole. Let's talk about, because you and I spoke about this earlier, when you are experiencing a breakup, your ego, your confidence, your self-worth takes a hit. What are some strategies that
I got a good one
people can do to kind of help build that back up?
Here's a huge hack, man. Y'all can have this. Merry Christmas.
Oh, I love it.
Huge hack. And this only works if you love somebody. That's the only prerequisite. You have to love this person. You had to ask yourself, like, I'm gonna let this has to work. That's all the prerequisites. And if she passed that prerequisite for you, then what you should ask her to do is say, yo, Carolyn, let me get the youngest picture of you. So, or if you know her sister or mama, be like, yo, can you send me a picture of Carolyn when she was 8, when she was 10? Matter of fact, man, send me one when she was 5. All right, mama, send me one. Miss Alexander, send me one when she was 5. Get the young picture, put it on your phone, and whenever y'all having beef, whenever we in the state of I'm annoyed by I want to walk away from this right now because you saying that motherfucking shit that's got me irked. Look, pull it up on your picture, pull that picture of Carolyn when she was 7, and look at her and remind yourself that that's who you're protecting.
Yep, that's who you're speaking to. You're speaking to that little girl.
That's who you committed to. That little 10-year-old girl that's going through her daddy issue, going through that situation when she went through something, and you're protecting that. Because obviously I can see you as a grown woman with all your material and think like, I'm leaving you. Nah, bro, you leaving that 10-year-old that got hurt. That 10-year-old is cussing you out right now. That 10-year-old is talking crazy right now. And you as a man have to look at that 10-year-old picture, physically look at that picture and say, nah, Lord, I got you, Lord. I'm gonna protect this girl. I'm not gonna react to that.
Best advice ever, and I'm terrible at it. Best advice.
Pull it up on your phone,
that's
bro.
Top tier, bro.
Walk off, pull it up on your phone, and just
top tier.
And look at her and be like.
Matter of fact, a lot of men, and I think if a lot of ladies can remind us to be like, listen, you talking to the little girl in me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, say that. Say that. It changes shit.
Yeah.
But if he's a real man, he gonna step back and be like, let me talk to you like, I like the little girl, you know what I mean? Like, let me talk to the little girl lady. Let me talk to you nice. Let me treat you nice. That's the realest shit ever, bro. That's the best advice ever.
It saved my life, bro. It saved my marriage several times, man. Because women got that venomous tongue.
I'm terrible at it, and I forget that, and I need to do that a lot more, bro. Real snap, real. That's real shit.
Phone, keep it on your favorites.
Stuff.
Pull it up so quick, where you be like, "Ooh, okay, I know who I'm dealing. I know who you're talking. I know what's going on right now. I know what's happening."
It's almost like stripping.
Mic drop.
Yeah, that's such good stuff, and it's almost like stripping, stripping everything away and like getting back to the innocence of a child, a vulnerable child. Because I think also what we struggle with a lot of times, and why a lot of relationships end, outside of like not giving each other grace, and outside of not, just kind of like being able to see that inner child or that innocence in a person, is the fact that crap, I just lost my train of thought.
A man hurt that little girl. And we don't, as men, we don't see that. And as women, y'all don't really get the reminder. We're reminded that y'all were hurt, but we look at it as, oh, you're an adult woman that no, they hurt the little girl. They hurt the girl that believed in the Cinderella story, Disney, like all the things that they, that you really want to have. And we're breaking that. We hurt that. And it's devastating. And your reaction to stuff that happens to you is coming from a place where, you broke my dreams. You're breaking all the things that I've always dreamed of. And you strip that from me.
Yeah.
You're stripping that.
But I think it also goes both ways, and my train of thought came back. It's no, you're fine. I'm glad you saved me. Thank you. I appreciate that, bro. You were saving me. But like, it's like taking that mask off. I think that is really where we see a lot of relationships go left, or you're not even really starting off on the right foot if who you're presenting yourself as is not who you really are. Because when you get into that relationship, and if it progresses into it's going to be exposed. Who you really are is going to be exposed. And I think what happens a lot of times is we are putting our best foot forward when we meet someone for the first time. And that's natural, I think. But at the same time, it's almost like a mask in a lot of ways. And we can't sustain that mask when we're dealing with someone for, a consistent amount of time, because who you really are is actually going to come out. We all know that. So it would be better, I think, if you're just get comfortable with masking off initially, like before you even get in the relationship. Just mask off. Like, your people will find you in terms of whoever is meant to be in your life, whoever's meant to be your person. They literally will love you for you.
So let me tell you why oftentimes we don't do that. And this is how I was going to answer that question before Eddie gave that mic drop answer. I would say the one thing that you have to do when you break up with somebody is remember that you're still a good person. Mm-hmm. Remember that you're good. There's nothing wrong with you. It just didn't work. I think what we do when we break up with somebody, we all have done it, is we internalize the breakup and we look into ourselves and say, what's wrong with me? Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Sometimes we have to, check ourselves every once in a while. But that doesn't mean you have to live in it, right? You don't have to live in it. Because what we forget is we're still flawed humans. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't get into a situation to purposely hurt somebody, then you could step back and say, you know what? I didn't mean it. Let me check my flaws, but that doesn't make me a bad person. And I think that's where we kind of forget, you know what? I'm worthy of somebody still because I'm a good person. I just got to check my flaws or be real about them.
That's good stuff. Okay.
Right?
The men dropping hot fire tonight. I love it. Yeah. I love that. So, okay. One of the things that I struggled with initially in my breakup with my like 13-year ex was forgiveness. Like I was literally so angry. And, after like I left that situation for good, he wanted to have a friendship. And deep down in my heart, I desired that also because when you're with someone for that long, it's like their family. And you know what I'm saying? So it was like, I still, even though I knew I could not be romantically involved with him anymore, I felt like there was some part of me that still wanted him in my life to some capacity. But every time I tried to just be friends, I would get so angry at the littlest things. Like he would laugh a certain way. And then it would remind me of a time he laughed when I was eavesdropping and he was talking to some girl he cheated on me with. And it was just go down a rabbit hole that was just not healthy. No, that's a real true story. One time my ex pissed me off because he laughed. We were on the phone and he laughed. And it reminded me of a time that I like literally was listening into a phone call he was having with some other girl and he laughed and it just triggered me. Like it literally did. And I just like got so mad and so angry. And I know I'm not the only one that struggled with forgiving someone and not feeling like, oh, and I take responsibility for the things that I did wrong in the relationship, but I do have a overwhelming feeling and thought process that you messed that up. And it took me a long time to forgive him. And I don't know that there was ever a strategy. I think it just took time for me. And then as I healed as an individual and I started to understand why he was moving the way he was moving, trauma that he hadn't addressed, And so that's the thing that helped me most be able to forgive was healing my own self or starting the healing process within me to be able to see and understand and empathize with how someone else may be moving and treating other people, not because they're bad people, but because they have unaddressed trauma. So how can we help people who are struggling with forgiving, the people that they were in a relationship with or a marriage with, so that they can come to a more healthy place in regards to that?
Here's something wild. Hate and love are the same emotion. Eddie, don't you say that a lot?
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
Yeah. So hate and love are the same emotion. The reason why you're so angry was because you hated him and what he put you through because you loved him so much. Yeah. And because of that, we every little thing about that person just angers us to the bone, to our core. The hard part about being in that space is that we forget what was our role in the relationship and its demise, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that we have to have some understanding of that other person and what they were getting and willing to listen to that. Right. So even though this person may have done something to me, you have to be in a space, I don't want to say healed, but at least in a space where you can listen to what is it, how did we get here? Right? And then be able to, and this is going to sound crazy, apologize for it. The one thing that we can all do is take accountability for what we do in a relationship. Because believe it or not, it lifts a lot of stuff off our chest. And you can walk away from that person knowing, you know what? It didn't work out. I know why. And I took accountability for my part. Because again, I said it at the beginning, it takes two.
And I think, oops, sorry, go ahead.
After therapy, during my therapy session, I had a big revelation. and this is one of them. And so about 7 or 8 women, about 6 or 7 women from the time I was 18 to the time I was about 40 that I was in a serious relationship with. No, up until about 37. No, 40. Yeah, 40. That I was any woman that I was in a serious relationship with, I wrote them a personalized email apologizing for the demise of our relationship. And I explained to them why it happened. And I wanted to let them know that it wasn't their fault and that they don't have to respond to this. This is about me just letting you know that I'm accepting responsibility for my part and taking accountability, and that you never have to question whether or not it was you when it was me.
Wow. I mean, I can see that being very powerful from the woman's perspective. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if I ever got an email like that, I think that that would give me a sense of peace, and like it would validate my, my feelings. But what did it do for you? Because I think that's important.
Well, number one, it was interesting because everybody replied.
Oh wow!
What? Oh, this is good. So, what kind of
everybody replied?
What kind of responses did you get to that?
All positive. I mean, wonderful. Like my first girlfriend, my first love. She was like, Jason, I read this and started crying. Right? It was really some real moments for me because it relieved me of the pain that I caused these great women. Right?
So the guilt also that you felt, were there some level of guilt that you felt? Okay.
Because I finally understood what the fuck was wrong with me.
I love that. We all need to do that. That needs to be a strategy that people take away from this. Write emails, letters, whatever. To people that your past relationships, owning to, your contribution to the situation. Like
we underscore what it feels like to somebody to say, my bad. This is why men are so gung-ho nowadays about saying to women, just be accountable. If you're just wrong about something, you say, you know what, I was wrong, Jay, my bad. Men, I'm telling you, we're not the type, we just don't, we're like, all right, cool, bet, let's keep it pushing. But that my bad, my fault, it means so much. Because number one, you don't feel crazy. Like you're like, yo, I knew it can't be me. I know I didn't do that. But like y'all don't, it's like I laugh sometimes because like it's not in y'all's DNA to take accountability. It's like a roadblock. And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be an asshole. It's like accountability is not something that women like to do, or at least Black women. And that right there can relieve so much tension between us.
I know I hear so many of our kings say that about us, but I just cannot relate because I am someone who is very good at taking accountability. So I think that's also a good takeaway that the women who are tuned in tonight can learn. Like, yeah, women, ladies, we got to be able to take accountability for actions. It's not all on the men. It's just not. And like to Jay's point, just saying my bad, I made a mistake will go a really long way. Men are really simple. Like it doesn't have to be this like drawn out.
We're not going to harp on it. We're not going to I told you that my bad. Matter of fact, I know for real, it's going to be some men that's, wait a minute, did you just say my bad? Oh shit, girl, let's go out to eat. Let me take you out to eat tonight.
Oh shoot. Saying my bad can get you a meal.
Like, I don't think y'all really understand how powerful the my bad can be right now. Like,
but you know what the truth is, man. Let's unpack it, bro. Let's go there. You have to realize, Carolyn, you a unicorn, man. I'm not saying that because you're the homie, but the thing that makes you a unicorn is that you actually have real friends that ride or die. Most women that I know don't have friends. They have associates. They got girls that they go to the gym with. They go to the mall with. They all like compartmentalized people that they just know at work or here and there in a safe space. But they're not actually people they lean on. So when you have a relationship like that you don't have to ever yield to anybody, or they don't have to yield to you. You don't have to be accountable. Men, we know from day one when we're friends with someone. If I'm friends with Jay, and I hurt him or say something crazy or bump him on the corridor, I'm gonna automatically say, "Yo, bro, forgive me, man. My bad. I didn't mean all that. I didn't mean that," because I respect Jay. There's a certain brotherhood that you almost a code. Actually, it's a straight up code. Every man knows from Jump Street that like we have to announce what we. It's like the mafia. You know, mafia. You ever watch those mafia movies? Everything is calculated to a point. It's like, yeah, here's Jay. He's one of our friends. Like there's a code of respect that women don't grow up having, because y'all grow up with this idea of like everyone has to perform for you. Everything's transactional for women. So when a man holds you accountable, it's very foreign. Because I've had situations where I'm like, you didn't see the wrong in that? Like blatant stuff. Intelligent women that couldn't see in front of them that this was their fault. And I almost was astonished and impressed that they were this blind. But I understood why they had cataracts. It's because the whole world lets them see for them. I see it for baby. I get it's your seat. You ain't gotta wait in line. I got you. Come on now, come with me. And when you live in that kind of privilege, and someone say, "That was my seat," what do you mean? I'm Carolyn. I always get what I want. It's like they don't even know how to react when someone says, "You gotta." Nah, man. The reservation. You know, this is my seat. I'm 2A. You know, and I got the paper right here telling you. They don't know. They can't even react, bro.
Dr. Angel just made a comment. She said, a lot of women are waiting for the apology first, so communication stops. And I'm like, well, if it's her fault, why should I apologize? She says, you're right, but they probably hold on to something from weeks ago or months ago. It's not right, but it happens. And this again,
we gotta stop that.
And I know that's a whole nother podcast, but you can't carry beefs to other beefs.
And that's what tit for tat is. That's what a tit for tat is. I
got something to talk about.
And then what they come back with, well, matter of fact, last week you did the same thing to me. You ate the last slice of pizza. I'm like, oh, we talking about pizza?
That was a problem. Address it then. You can't carry beef, yo.
I agree. I do agree. I think, if that's something that you guys are saying that we are struggling with as women, then ladies, we definitely gotta be able to take that accountability and just say, I messed up. I was wrong. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I apologize. Those things, and not go on the defensive every time, we're held accountable for things.
I give a quick. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's just ridiculous. Yeah. I can't put myself in those shoes because it's so opposite of unicorn. Me. But go ahead.
I got an example of where, like, this is the perfect example.
I'm Carolyn.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I set a time for a date, there's a reason why I'm setting a time for a date. First of all, you all talk about men need to plan dates. Well, goddamn it, when I plan it, you better fucking show the fuck up when I give that goddamn time.
Talk that shit.
Be on time.
Be on fucking time. You wanted me to plan this shit? You better be on time. Man, I had a joint show up, like I've had joints show up 30, 45 minutes late and think that shit is cute.
Ugh.
Not even apologize. No, my bad. No, don't call, like, yo, I'm running. And don't call me if the date's at 7:30. Don't call me at 7:40 talking about I'm late. No fucking shit. Call me at 7. Call me at 6:45. Yo, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be 20 minutes late. Like, first of all, yo, it's crazy disrespectful. But then don't act like that shit is cute and not apologize.
Yeah.
Now, there have been women that have been very apologetic. I've had women either pay for drinks or pay for the meal that, like, all right, she's solid.
Yeah.
But it's been joints been straight up showing up like, yo, and?
Right.
Oh, nah. Like, oh, nah. You playing in my face. Date's over.
Yeah.
I'll cut dates off before they started.
Woo. Okay, so let's stay on topic, but
let's stay on topic, but I'm sorry. That's just an example of accountability. Yeah, I'm bad. I went off topic, but I had to get off my
you're good. Because it's important. We need to take accountability, period. Point
yes,
blank.
Accountability.
Okay.
Get there early.
Let's talk about, I wish I had more wine, but I don't. Let's talk about navigating dating after a breakup and or divorce? How do we, for people who were in long-term relationships, for people who, were married and now, they're back on the scene and they want to find their person, how can they navigate that?
You should not be allowed to date after a divorce until you go to therapy. That should be a law.
So therapy,
minimum 6 sessions, period.
Treat it like a DWI, you say?
Okay, yup.
So, all right.
I need you to blow in this thing real quick.
The judge should be like, divorce decree. Here are your papers for counseling. You're not allowed to talk to another human being till this is done.
You know what? I'm not opposed to that. I think it's a good idea. Mandatory counseling after a divorce. So just like mandatory counseling. Not necessarily saying before you, because they can't regulate, how you move, but like I think mandatory counseling would be a good idea. Because like you said, what we don't want to do is now that person who is coming out of something unhealed, getting involved with someone else, and now they hurt them. Yeah. Quick story about that. I have one of my best guy friends now. When we met, he was going through a divorce. And we were literally just friends for 6, 7, 8 months, and we would hang out and spend time because I think he was just used to someone being around. So like I was his rebound, I should say, but we were just friends. And then at some point we took it to that next level. And so now I'm like, so what are we doing here? Like we need to figure this out. But at the end of the day, he wasn't ready. He was not ready. And that hurt me to my core because we had built a friendship for the last 7, 8 months where we were spending a lot of time together and really getting to know each other. And so we had this like very, very solid friendship built. And then whenever he wasn't ready, that really hurt. That really impacted me because it felt like a loss. It felt like a breakup because now I have to like completely separate myself from you. And I did, I blocked him. I didn't talk to him for months and months and months. But I think had he, been focused on healing instead of just focused on, having fun because I'm going through this and I just want somebody there and, she's, fun and light and pretty or whatever, then it probably wouldn't have ended that way. To be quite honest,
and before I make my next point, what responsibility do you take in that?
I mean, I probably should have just maintained being his friend. And also I'm not one, and I've admitted this several times. I'm not one to really think about relationship things, or I always say I wasn't in the past. Like I wasn't thinking this man is just getting out of a marriage. There's no way he would be ready for a relationship. Blase. And I wasn't thinking relationship for the longest time. Cause like I said, we were just friends. It was completely platonic. And but once we had that solid friendship base and then we did decide to take it there, then now I'm like, okay, so now things have changed. Like, what are we doing here? So I have to take accountability for that and at the time I didn't. I was mad, I was angry, and I was like, you a F boy, like you do some shit,
see
all of the things. But I'm taking accountability. I'm admitting that.
But no, I get you. But I think when a woman doesn't get what she wants, oh, he's a fuck boy. No,
yeah.
Relax.
But what was hard? Go ahead.
No, I got you. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that what was hard for me because it wasn't just like the romantic part of it. Now the friendship's ruined. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we had a great friendship.
Sure.
And now, that's messed up and that's lost at the time. But then, as you said, like once I separated myself from that and I started to think about my role in that, my responsibility in that, I was able to take some accountability in the situation. And now we're like the best of friends now.
The hard part, and I think here's the thing, right? When we meet somebody, especially in our older age. Like when you meet somebody when you're 16, we don't have to ask this shit because we're 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
30s, 40s, we got a pass. And we gotta start asking those questions, and we have to be honest with ourselves with what we want, right?
Mm.
Jay Moore, say like this is 2019. Jay Moore, you married? Nah, I'm divorced. When was your divorce? 2 months ago. Oh, you want playtime. I can't take you seriously. Now, if I hear that, I might fight it a little bit, but she's not lying.
Mm-hmm.
She's not lying. And so she that woman right there is using discernment to know I'm not in the space to be in another relationship yet. I'm just not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could prove her wrong, but it'll take some time, and she has to know
Mm-hmm.
that she definitely has to know that this probably ain't gonna for real happen. So if it doesn't happen, don't feel hurt if you keep engaging me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
gotta accept responsibility for the people we get ourselves involved with. And especially if you're asking the right questions, stop playing. And see, the problem is that what a lot of women do, not everybody, is that because we don't speak in generalities, is that you'll meet a man who's been married before and be like, oh, he's the marrying type. And now he's free, which means he'll probably get married again because he's already proven that he can be married. And that woman that wants to be married, oh yeah, he's prime. That's bait right there.
Mm.
And so what you find yourself doing is what Eddie said earlier, positioning yourself with this man so that you can get what you want. Not knowing this man might he on playtime. For real.
Was he telling
you're
you?
gonna be his rebound.
Was he telling you stuff though, Carolyn? Was he like kind of saying like y'all could be together one day and stuff like that?
No, because we really were just friends. It just kind of
it just got comfortable.
It just kind of like happened. Like I can't explain it. Like, we really were just friends for like so many months, and then it just kind of happened. But after that, and then again, I could have just said, that's something that happened, and then my mindset could have remained on still being friends and not making it such a big deal. But because now I went there with you, like my whole basically you my nigga now. Like if I'm like that's always my attitude when it comes to sleeping with someone. So it's like,
but he knew that though, right? He knew that's how you.
He knew that as my friend because I was talking to him about past relationships and the situation that I had off again on again when I met him with the African. And so he knew that from that perspective, but not from we never considered being romantically involved with each other. It just kind of segued into that because we were spending so much time together. I mean, we were seeing each other 3 or 4 times a week. I practically lived at his place. So it was just like something that kind of like happened, like I said. So I don't think he was being deceitful in any way. And now looking back on it, like I know, like he just wasn't. It's like Jay said, like if a man is coming out of a marriage, that's not a man that is wanting to get back into a serious relationship. And we as women have to like use our brains and reckon. Like I don't like. It makes no sense, to be quite honest. But we women will see the potential.
It does a little bit.
It does, because you can say, oh, he's the marrying type.
Right.
Or whatever. But most men that I know who are divorced don't want to get married again. Like,
it's like because we've broken the chain. It's like you've broken the chains of like slavery and you're free again. Like no bullshit. Like that's what you gotta feel free again. Like, oh my God, these streets are looking lovely.
Yeah. But I tell you, I would never let no girl be up in my house like every day though.
Yeah,
and that's where I can understand mixed feelings. The reason I'm bringing that up is I've been guilty of doing that to people. Kind of like, having them over, making them feel like they, playing house without paying mortgage, And then of course they, I got greedy. You get a lot of men. We just get. I know I had a greedy season, bro. Like greedy season. And then of course, there was a situation where it was just like that, where this girl that I was leading on had over making pancakes and all that cute shit. You know what I mean? Had her own little drawer in the bathroom and everything.
Okay.
Here's your. I got you a toothbrush. Yours is running low. Like, come on, bro. Like, I don't do that with friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you smash all day, all night. Then y'all watch, Game of Thrones all morning. But then like. And then you want to act brand new when she like, I feel something. Oh, well, I thought we were friends.
Right.
Like, you can't be greedy, homie. You can't be greedy. We got to take accountability too, feel me?
You got to relax, Eddie. Don't say it all,
I'm saying too much, homie. I'm going into the bag.
We need to talk. We need to discuss it. The people need to hear it because we need to.
Yo, baby, let's watch this power. Let's see what happened. Let's see what's going on with Jamie.
It's no bullshit.
Yo, Tommy acting crazy again, boo. I know you ain't leaving out right.
Man, listen. My homegirls was like, "Oh, you on the More World Whore tour, huh?" I was like, "Oh, you motherfuckers!" But I was listening. After divorce, man, listen, divorce is real. Like it's a game changer. Like when you get married, you in a fraternity, and then when you get a divorce, you go into a whole nother fraternity. It's like it's hard. Like it's tough. Like I said, I would never wish it on anybody.
One of my good male friends who's gone through a divorce told me that, and so I want to talk to you guys about this. Do you feel like he said when he did start to date again, he felt guilty, and he was constantly like when he would go out with the new girl, like kind of just looking to like feeling uncomfortable, like maybe someone that was associated with his wife in some capacity was there, and he just said he just felt kind of like uncomfortable in public spaces with the new girl.
Well, these are the things that people don't talk about when you get divorced. You got to remember, Carol, if you and I are divorced, when we break up, I'm not just breaking up with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm breaking up with your mama, your daddy, your sisters, your brothers, your friends, co-workers. Your whole world, your world and my world came together for a period of time. Now, those two worlds see us separately. Like, I can't tell you, there's so many things I'm probably missing when I talk about divorce because there's so many things that happen that change. And you have to adjust to it. Your boy's right on point. Like, you feel like my ex-wife moved out of the area because she didn't want to be seen or see any of my friends. Or go through what your boy was talking about,
or run into you,
run into me.
Which is a whole other thing. Like
it's a real thing. Like there's so much that goes into a divorce because it's not just about you and I. We brought a lot of people together in our union, right? And now it's gone. And your boy, he's on a date. Like I would feel funny. I felt that, like, because what you don't always want to have to do is explain why you're divorced or why you're not with, or we got divorced. And it's funny and it's interesting because some people say, well, do I congratulate you or do I say I'm sorry?
Like brown
that's true. That's so true.
Like you don't like it really gives you a different perspective. And you know what else? It's funny that you talk about dating. This is the other thing that happens when you start dating though. Divorce gives you a superpower because once you get healed, when you start dating again, you immediately know what you're going to deal with and what you're not. And you are very clear about that. Like, and again, healed people see unhealiness.
They see the trauma or the fact that you're
it's
not
like
healed.
it's like watching a TV show.
You need a healing.
He said,
No
I see
bullshit.
dead people.
You do. You see dead people. You're like, oh,
you
they
see
got
it.
fine. Oh, this shit. You see daddy issues. You see. Oh yeah.
You see
Because
it.
you'll be like you'll go through things. You'll hear things. You're like, oh, she's not talking about me because I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she. This is unresolved. This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Especially like communication wise. When you learn how to really, like I told y'all, 99% of people on earth think they communicate great. In all actuality, it's like 5%, and I'm overestimating that. We don't, as humans, communicate well at all. We just don't. But when you figure out like how you like to communicate at least, and an effective communication, at least textually, you see again after a divorce who doesn't communicate well, or at least communicate well enough for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think you make a good point. That's something that as I experience breakups in my relationships, I do think that there was always some silver lining or personal growth happening as a result of that. And then also it helped me to know and learn myself better and what I could tolerate and what I could not tolerate. So and I think that's also part of the healing journey, because now when you do get back out there and you start to date somebody else, when you see signs of what you cannot tolerate, it's an easy, cut it off type of situation, and you don't have to even go down that road of getting involved with somebody and eventually it's not going to work out because you can't even tolerate this behavior.
And ain't nothing to cut that bitch off. I think a divorce man wrote that song.
Wow. Wow. Okay, we got a few minutes left. So what advice would you give to people who are currently going through a breakup or a divorce? What advice we give? And then we're going to wrap the show.
Keep your head up. It's not the end of the world. You're not a bad person. Take the time to heal. Take the time to learn yourself. Take the time to do a lessons learned. You'll be all right, though. You'll be all right. You'll get through it. It's not the end of the world. You'll get back up. You'll love again.
That's good. Eddie, what you got?
Nah, Jay said something real. I don't think any of us is really healed, but when you get to a place of healing, you're on course. You become more like aware, sensitive, vulnerable to everything around you. And even though this relationship might end, because a lot of us do this bad math in our head, we start to think, "Ooh, I just met her. Things are going well. It's week 2. Maybe this year, next year, I'll be engaged. And then maybe a year after that, we'll be married." So like, nah, bro, don't even think about it like that. Just know that if you're in a place where you can see people better, you can see dead people, if you will, that you can get out of that situation, learn who you are, learn what that person was, take it for what it was, move on to the next one, and know that when you find that person that's in the same journey, healing journey, you will be married quick, because you'll like know each other so fast. Within 6 months, you'll be like, "Oh wow, I feel safe." And I know that's not a cute word that men throw around, but we want it just as much as y'all. That's the one thing I would argue that is not feminine, not masculine. Men want to be safe too. You know what they doing us out there, man? We want to come home and put it all down, take all the metal, take the armor off, put the shield away, and be like, "Boo, let me tell you what Jeremy's doing in the meeting
Word
today.
up.
He called me out again, boo. You believe this?" Like we want, and then wife over here eating, snacking. Word, really? Wow, what? Not Jeremy again. We want that. We need that. We don't want to treat you the way we treating them out there. They out to get us. It's a horror movie. Jason based on a true story. You know what I mean? Jason living my job.
Oh my goodness.
He's trying to get me something, But my point is like, yeah, man, I think at the end of the day, when you on that course and you meet somebody and y'all know, like, wow, oh, you too? Wow. Okay, cool. We can move fast. We can expedite this relationship and get what we want out of it. And then y'all can, be in love and all those beautiful things and feel safe together. and it won't be on some like, oh man, I gotta wait another 5 years like it did with Joey. Like, it don't gotta be like that because Joey didn't know what he wanted in the first place.
That's a whole nother story. I love that. I would just say for me, I would say look inward. I think that's been the most beneficial thing for me as far as moving past a breakup and just saying, okay, let me examine myself and see, take some accountability for the decisions or the things that I've done that contributed to the relationship being in the place that it is, or the relationship ending. And then you have to be intentional about wanting to address your own issues, because that's really the problem. Like, if we're both coming into trying to make a relationship work and we're both unhealed, what sense does that make? Of course it's going to fail, because we're both unhealed. We're not even bringing our true, authentic, and healthy selves into the situation in the first place. And so I think one of the things that you should focus on is, one, you really should lean on friends and family. Your friends and your family, your true people, your tribe, they will help you. They will give you insight. They will be your support when you're feeling down. They will lift you up. They will get you out the house. They will come over, like when I've gone through breakups, like, my family and friends have just engulfed me in a way that I could never repay. And like, I so appreciate, and it helped me so much. So that's one thing. And then, like, I would encourage self-care things, like really start to focus on, what do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy getting massages? Start doing that consistently. Do you enjoy, going on bike rides? Start doing that consistently. Like, focus on what you're really enjoying doing and do a lot of that, and then I think that will help you come to a place of peace and discernment. And what I've learned when I've done that and I reflected on relationships, and like you said, Jay, to your point, understanding why the relationship went the way it went, like, that is also part of the healing process, because you can, like, break it down more in a logical sense, and the emotional aspect of it is removed to a degree. So I would say that. And then before I pass it to Jay to close out this show, thank you again, Tit for Tat Nation, for tuning in. We love you guys so much. We're here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. I'm traveling, so I don't know what Tuesday's topic is going to be. We'll let y'all know. I'm not 100% sure yet.
If y'all have a topic for us, let us know.
Absolutely. And keep sending, videos and clips of all of the relationship things, because I look at those. I obviously repost them. Love and appreciation always to you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday. And then I'll pass it to Jay to close this out.
I always hope. I love love. Like, I love Black love. And I love it when we can get together, and the hope is always that it goes to distance, right? To death do us part. Unfortunately, that may not be the case, right? Breakups are inevitable. They're going to happen. I think as humans, we need to accept that and just know that it's not the end of the world. You'll do it again. God has somebody for everybody. I truly believe that, and that and just live in your world. Just be you, love yourself, be yourself, and I think at the end of the day, we'll all find our person. And here at Tit for Tat, we're here to help that healing process, or help you find that person, because we believe in that here, and because of that, we hope you come back next week and the week after. Thanks to my man Eddie, as usual, dropping gems. Thanks to my co-host Carolyn, always keeping it straight. And listen, this is Tit for Tat Podcast, where we always bring spice, but we always keep it nice. Love y'all, Tit for Tat Nation. Holla!
Good night.